Greetings. Thanks for stopping by. Health and happiness to you. I'm Skol, and this is my QSP Penguin collection. QSP, the company, stands for Quality Service Price, and their flagship model, juggernaut in sales, has been the Penguin for years and years and years. It's been one of the top, most successful knives in the market, available in all sorts of variety, and I'm going to show you what I got here. But there's actually three parts to this video. First, I'll show you my collection, do a quick tabletop review, and I'll try not to take too long on that because there's two more parts. Part number two, I'm going to share with you some secrets of the universe, and I wore Yggdrasil on purpose today. So we're going to talk about how some secret Fibonacci sequence built into the design of the Penguin, which I think you'll find very interesting. And that's part two. In part three, there's a hidden secret on this green knife, and I will reveal that to you in part three of the video. So let's jump right in to the first part of the video, the Penguin. So I'll introduce my collection here. We've got different handle materials. These are all Penguins. Handle materials, blade, steel types, and locking mechanisms. And here we've got natural colored G10. Here's black G10, blue denim micarta, Altum, and crystallized titanium premium handle. And then some blade steel variety. I got 14C28N steel on this one with a black wash coating. And here we've got 14C28N again also, but in satin. Here we've got a budget D2 steel with a black wash. Here we've got a high-end super steel S90V, and this one's got 154 cm. And then we got variety in our blade and our locking mechanisms as well. So here, this one's got a plunge lock, button plunge lock. So you undo the lock by pushing in the button. There's a little spring under there. That's called a plunge lock. And this is called a glide lock. And on other companies, they often call it a crossbar lock. Or on Benchmade, which had it originally, it was called the axis lock. So after you open it, you can pull this back. And I call that a tic-tac shape and size. Tic-tac actuator. And that's how you unlock that one. And the next one is an old school liner lock. So the way you unlock it is you push the liner leaf spring over. That's your liner lock. And then we've got another plunge lock just like that one. And this one's got the glide lock just like this one. And by the way, that's titanium. That actuator is titanium just like that's titanium. Very nice high premium handle there. So we talked about blade steel, handle materials, and locking mechanisms. I got a variety here. And I went onto the website just to see what Penguin's been up to lately, and I see a lot of new stuff still. I saw some carbon fiber handles. I saw some titanium, other titanium frame locks, and I saw a fixed blade, a mini fixed blade. It looks like it's even smaller than the standard Penguin size, called the Baby Banter fixed blade. So they've got that going on too. So they're still putting out lots of variety with Penguin. And like I said, Penguin's been a juggernaut. Super high, good sales for years and years. But I think there was a little bit of a slowdown when they came out with this glide lock late last year. Currently, it's May 2026. And at the end of last year, in 2025, they came out with the glide locks. And I think they probably didn't sell quite as hot as they thought they were gonna. It was just a little bit of bad timing with the market. The market had gotten saturated. All the companies were doing crossbar locks, and suddenly there was crossbar lock fatigue. So the market kind of cooled off, but it also coincided with the brand new thing that was coming out. It was called a top liner lock. So basically, like on this Remet Camel, they've got a liner lock. It's a leaf spring liner lock, but they've attached a button through the handle that pushes on the liner lock. And this one's actually even more advanced, because at first they came out top liner locks were becoming the rage, but then now it's a normal liner lock, which you can disengage just like a liner lock, but you can also use the button. So this definitely replaces plunge locks. People would rather have the more sturdy leaf spring instead of a coil spring. So the market has shifted. They want more of this. This is what the demand has grown heavily for this. This is what I want, and this is what a lot of people want. This is better. This is an improvement, and I hope QSP has gotten a little bit off track that they haven't done this yet. So top liner lock or button actuated liner lock, that's where it's at, and QSP needs to play a little bit of catch up. Take your liner lock here. You've already got the liner lock. Drill a hole, attach a button, figure it out, and please get on board with the liner lock button actuated. And when you do make one, I will be looking forward to buying that. So that's where the market's at right now. And looking ahead, in addition to what I mentioned, there's even slip joint. I've seen slip joint penguins. So they're kind of doing everything, so I hope they'll also do that button actuated liner lock soon. And then looking ahead in the market, what's happening? Well, in just a few months from now, in August 2026, Cold Steel's patent expires on the back lock triad lock, which is the strongest lock in the whole knife market. So I'm kind of looking forward to other companies jumping into triad locks and doing their version of a triad lock. And I hope that Penguin will also come out in a back lock, because they haven't done that yet, and make it a triad lock. So you get the super strongest lock possible on a Penguin. And that would be great. I would buy one of those also. And if you go look through my video list, you can find a video that I did called Lock Types in Different Situations. And that's a long discussion. It's actually over an hour video, but I go pretty thorough, in depth, looking at lots of different situations and ranking all the different types of pocket knife locks, what's best, what's worst, in all those different scenarios. And after doing that video, I kind of boosted my appreciation again for backlocks. So backlocks are my favorite type of lock. They are the strongest type of lock, and they're the most suitable for most situations. So I really like backlocks. And I'm personally looking forward to the triad lock becoming available soon on a lot more knives. I'm looking forward to that. So let's move on. Let's do a quick review and stats. So here I've got a flipper tab on this one, and you've got your standard Penguin blade shape. And I've talked to people about this, and people say this blade shape is extra beautiful. It's maybe the most beautiful curve on a sheep's foot that people have seen. People agree with that. I've had people say they agree with that. And that's one of the reasons it's so popular. But we're going to get into specifically some features lining up with Fibonacci. That'll be part 2. But first, let's finish the tabletop review. So here you got standard EDC sizes and shapes. You've got it listed at 3 inches, 3.06 inches blade length. And it's going to be the same on all these. Penguins have all the same blade stats. So there you can see it looks pretty much right at 3, but it's actually 3.06 if you got real precise. And then if you just measure your cutting edge here, it looks like 2 7/8 inch cutting edge, 3.06 inches overall blade length, and then your entire full length is 7 1/8, looks like, for the total length. So that's your standard Penguin size, a very good size for EDC. Good ergonomics. You can see here on this handle, I'm getting 4 fingers right here with plenty of space on the handle. There is just a small bird's beak right here, but you can see I can get all my fingers inside the bird's beak. So those are good ergonomics. Everybody likes the Penguin. Feels good. Good size for EDC. Good ergonomics. That's the foundation, is having a good ergonomic handle for any knife. Let's do the rest of the stats real quick. Got a tear. So this one is 3.44 ounces, and that's right in the EDC sweet spot. This one is a little bit lighter. It comes in at just under 3 ounces, and 3 ounces is the cutoff. If it's below that, I call it lightweight. So here we got a lightweight penguin. This is actually the oldest model, and it's got regular liners instead of inset. It's going to be slightly heavier. 3.25 ounces, but that's right in the sweet spot for EDC. And then we'll measure the Ultim one. It's also coming in just under 3 ounces, so that's actually lightweight, and with the high-end super steel. And then this one's got a more solid titanium, so it's going to be a little bit heavier. And we're getting 3.97 ounces on that one. But between 3 and 5, that's kind of where most EDC knives fall. So that's right in there, right in the middle of the EDC range. And I'm trying not to show you the other side on purpose, because part 3, there's a secret on here that I'm going to reveal to you. So there are the stats. Also, let's do the stock thickness. It also has the perfect EDC stock thickness at about 0.12 is what I'm always looking for. And these are all the same. I already checked it, but let's go ahead. Getting 0.1175, so that's 3 millimeters exactly. And all these are coming in at 3 millimeter stock thickness, which comes out to 0.118. So you've seen plenty. You can go find plenty of reviews. Everybody says the Penguin is really good. It always gets good reviews, and that's why it's been so popular and a juggernaut on sales, and why they keep reinventing it with new variety. It just keeps going, and there's still life in it. Just give us that button actuated type top liner lock. Give us a back lock. I want a back lock with the triad. That would be awesome. And so just basic wrap up, basic recommendation. Everybody loves the Penguin. Everybody should have Penguin in their collection. It's a fun knife, a good knife, lots of good ergonomics, highly recommended. So let's move on to section 2. So section 2 is showing you specifically how Fibonacci has been incorporated into the design of the Penguin and what that means. So first of all, what is Fibonacci if you never heard? Fibonacci is a number sequence starting at 1, and then you add the number before it. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. 13 plus 8 is 21. And then 21 plus 13 is 34, and then 55. And that number sequence goes on for infinity, so this box could keep, and the spiral could keep on going. So what's the spiral here? It's connecting. You can see where you go to the next box, and then you just do it to the next box where it's leading to the next box. If you just keep connecting that line, it makes this certain Fibonacci spiral. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about that. That's what Fibonacci is. It's a number sequence, and it's just like the Matrix. If you think about the movie The Matrix, all the numbers creating the Matrix. Well, Fibonacci is an underlying code found all through nature, all through life. Things grow by the Fibonacci sequence. Like a tree starts out with a stump, and then it becomes 2 branches, 3 branches, and often, most of the time, will follow the Fibonacci sequence. So let's look at some other pictures here. Here's some examples of Fibonacci you see in nature, like a shell that looks just like that spiral we were looking at, Fibonacci spiral. And if you look at the way this sunflower goes out, the spiral design down in there, it looks just like the Fibonacci spiral. The proportions on your face are, the more closer your features on your face are to Fibonacci, landing right on the Fibonacci lines, the more attractive you're going to be. So like the top of your head and your chin, where your eyes fall, that is a major important feature the closer your eyes are to land on a Fibonacci line, the more attractive your face is going to be. That's just the natural golden ratio of the universe, and they're showing some examples here. The human ear is that same spiral. Even artwork. Well, here's some Greek artwork, and the Greeks knew math, and they knew architecture and how to make something attractive. Following the golden ratio, they knew about that, and some of the great artworks, they were designed with those ratios in mind. Let's look at some other stuff. Here's the Mona Lisa. So there's millions and millions of paintings out there. Why does the Mona Lisa rise above and become a masterpiece above others? Well, look at this when you lay the spiral starting on the nose, and then the certain features hit right on that spiral, the corner of the mouth, the chin, straight across the top of the head, even that tree in the background, tip hits right on the line. When you've got a whole bunch of things hitting this feature that's coded into your brain, you see it all through nature, all through the universe, all through everything, has Fibonacci everywhere, and your brain subconsciously recognizes those patterns. So as people studied this, they noticed subconsciously and now consciously, because now people have figured it out. Why is this a masterpiece? And there's other paintings that have risen above, like the Girl with the Pearl painting is one of the famous masterpieces. And when they lay the Fibonacci on top of that, they see how things line up, the pearl and the side of the head, and all the different features line up on the spiral. So let's move on. Look at the galaxy, and those spiral arms of the galaxy line up with that Fibonacci. It's encoded in everything. You can see it in space. You can see it in patterns of hurricanes with the clouds. It's a natural number sequence encoded throughout all of creation. So that's pretty important. And your mind sees, even if you're not consciously thinking about it, when you judge if something is attractive, often it's subconsciously, how is it stacking up to the Fibonacci sequence numbers. So let me show you on the penguin specifically things that are Fibonacci. So when you look at this blade, which everyone says is a beautiful shape, what are some points that kind of stand out when you look at this? So the tip, we'll say that's a point. And then you notice this curve, we'll look at that. And then where this curve ends, there's kind of a point there. So there's 3 points of interest. Where this thumb stud is, where this pivot is, and maybe where the tip of this flipper is. And then you also notice this straight edge. So there's a whole bunch of points that kind of leap out at you at points of interest on this blade. And now let's take a Fibonacci grid and line it up and see what happens. So let's turn this on. So here I've got the Fibonacci grid laid out. I'll just lay it right there. Now, I can shrink and expand this, and the size doesn't matter. What matters is the ratios, that you keep the ratios the same. So from there to there to there, if you imagine this is your chin and this is the top of your head, your eyes are going to fall, and the closer they fall to being right on this major Fibonacci line, the more attractive your face is going to be. The eyes are the most important feature on your face. But look at this blade when you line up. If I take the tip, remember we pointed out several different things. Let's take the tip. Let's take this tip, and you see a square there. There's squares and rectangles, but here's a square. Line up that tip there and that tip there, and look what happens here over on the edge. It goes right through the middle of that pivot, and it's a little bit more visible. So we got the little center dot. You can see it a little bit better. So here, if you take the tip and line it up on that line, take this tip, line it up there, you're hitting a major Fibonacci line. And then you can see this edge line is going right through that center of the pivot. So that is lined up in a Fibonacci ratio, and your mind is going to see that as beautiful. The tip to that line to that is a Fibonacci sequence. There's more. So you see that tip and that tip around the square. Unconsciously, your mind figures out that there's a straight edge there and that this tip to that tip is a 45-degree angle. And I'll show it with this. This is a square piece of paper folded corner to corner. So now I've got 90 degrees here, and I've got 45 degrees here because it's cut in half. And if I line it up straight across the edge to the tip, you see that it comes out right at that point. So that is a 45-degree angle from tip to tip, and then it's got that swoop. But now, here's probably the most interesting thing. What about that swoop? Does that match up with the angles, this changing angle of this spiral? Well, when I took this knife and I put the tip there, and then I tilted it up until it matched the angle, it matches up. And not only does it match up, so I got the tip here lined up at that intersection. It's following the curve of the spiral exactly. And then this thumb stud is landing at this other major intersection on the curve and right at a Fibonacci line. And keep following the curve around. It's going even this tip of the flipper. There's no way that just happened by accident. They encoded Fibonacci into that. From the tip, the exact curve is following Fibonacci, hitting there on a major Fibonacci line, and then even the tip of the flipper is hitting still on the curve. So when your eye looks at this blade, you see the tip, you recognize that curve unconsciously, and you continue around. The curve hits that thumb stud down to that flipper tab, and your mind will recognize those Fibonacci sequences. So what makes this not just a beautiful picture like 1,000 other beautiful pictures, but it's also elevated to another level of having Fibonacci encoding. So you've probably never heard of that before, but there is the secret of the penguin revealed to you. And then I think I explained that adequately. So that's pretty neat. What about these other penguins that don't have a flipper tab? Do they still line up? They do. So I took that same penguin, the tip follows the line, they're all the same shape. They do that on purpose, and this back corner right here, that lines up on the curve also. So that even when there's not a flipper tab, they're still keeping that arc, and your mind will recognize that. So that's part of the reason why your mind sees that as attractive. So let's move on to the third section. What's the secret about this green one? So let's focus on the green one now, and I'll show you what the big secret is there. So this is produced by QSP Penguin, but it's a exclusive to traditionalpocketknives.com. And before I show you what's on the other side, I've got a little intro here. So my favorite Lucky shirt, whenever I've had this shirt for years, at least 10 years, and whenever I put this shirt on, I have a game. So my boy's in high school, but imagine 10 years ago, he was about 6 years old. And whenever I had this little game I do, when I put this shirt on, and then I make a grand entrance into the room, and I'll say, "Pa's Lucky," and I kind of spread my arms out, and that gets a little smile from everybody. And whenever I wear this shirt, I always do that little thing. So that's a thing I've been doing for years and years with my Lucky shirt. Or since we're on video, I'm not Pa, I'm Skol, so I'll say, "Skol's Lucky," when I have that shirt on. And I was looking around at all the different knife dealers, and is there a good St. Patrick's Day knife? and that could also go with my shirt, my Lucky shirt, and everything looks so gimmicky and not very good. But then I had this idea that TPK, traditionalpocketknives.com, came out with this line of crystallized titanium, and I got permission to tell you guys about this. TPK, you already know they've got a 3D printer, and they have some 3D printed items for sale that have already been selling on the website, so they're doing that. But they also got into a laser machine for laser engraving. And I had the idea, what if we take this green knife and you guys do a laser, use the laser, and I've got Lucky and the Shamrock just like my shirt. So now I have a cool St. Patrick's Day knife. Laser, custom laser, just what I wanted, just what I asked for. And I got permission to show you guys and tell you guys about this. They're still working on the laser. They had to get it dialed in for the laser distance and the amount of power and all that. But look how nice they got it, nice and dark, nice and crisp. So I asked for I gave them very specific instructions. I wanted all capital letters. I wanted a 3-leaf clover, not a 4-leaf, so I specified that specifically because St. Patrick, he actually used the clover, if you know that story, to describe the Trinity in the Bible, 3 in 1. So there's three leaves on the clover, 3 in 1, and he would use that as an illustration to the Irish people to explain the Trinity in a way that they could understand it easily. So that's St. Patrick. Another reason St. Patrick's Day is special to me is I joined the military on St. Patrick's Day on March 17th. I won't tell you the year. That's when I signed the contract on March 17th and took the oath to join the military. So March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, is an extra special day for me. And then I've got my shirt and I've got the knife to go with it. And while I was getting ready for this video, I was thinking, well, I've got a super old shirt. How much longer is that going to last with my brand new knife? So every time I wear that shirt, I'll carry this knife. So I went ahead and ordered one. If you want a Lucky shirt, just like the one I showed you, or similar styles, there's actually a whole bunch available that say Lucky and have a clover. You can get 3-leaf or 4-leaf, whatever you want. I told you why I prefer the 3-leaf. So I ordered a 3-leaf clover Lucky shirt is on the way. So I'll have a new shirt with a new knife, and I can keep that whole thing going and have fun with that. So also, not only did I get permission from Austin, the owner of traditionalpocketknives.com, he said if you want a laser engraved just like this, because they're not offering it for sale yet, they're still trying to figure what all they're going to do with the laser. They've got some ideas, but they do have the settings dialed in and saved for their line of crystallized titanium. They've got 4 different colors available: purple, blue, gold, and green. If you want this exact knife with the engraving, you can do that. Just contact customer support on their website, traditionalpocketknives.com. And if you send them a note, I saw the Skol EDC video about the laser engraved Lucky knife. I want the same thing. They will do that for you. That's what Austin said. Or they have the settings saved for the laser. If you want your name or some other word or whatever can fit there, they can do that for you. They've got the settings set for the crystallized titanium knife. So the basic way it would work is you'd contact them, they'd agree to do it, or you tell them what you have in mind. They'll tell you if they're willing to do that, and they probably are, as long as you don't make it too long and can fit in this area on the flat of the blade. And I did want it on the flat of the blade because when you cut, the cut will never be touching the flat of the blade. All your wear and scratches will be on the bevel, and that'll keep my little laser engraving there nice and not get it all scuffed up. I also I asked for it to be centered away from the thumb stud. That way when I'm flipping the thumb stud, I'm not rubbing on the laser engrave. But laser engrave is very tough. That'll stay on there, but That way I'm never touching it at all, and that'll always stay nice. So anyway, if you want some other word, and you can do it on the other colors because it's all the same blade type, same geometry, same laser setting, they can print you, engrave you a word. So anyway, that's available to you. Just send an email, they'll figure it out, and the way it'll probably work is you first contact them to get the ball rolling, and they agree. Then you'll probably buy the knife. Then they'll produce the artwork according to what you asked for. Let's say you want the name. Maybe you're buying it for graduation. Maybe you buy a gold one for your daughter named Rachel, and you say, I want Rachel to be put on there. They'll type it up, send it to you. You want it to look just like this, all capital letters, Rachel. And when you agree to the artwork, they can put it in there. They've already got the settings saved. They'll engrave it for you and send it to you, and you've already bought the knife. And if for some reason the laser went haywire or something, I'm pretty confident you can trust them that they will make it look nice and just like this. So that's what I did, is I bought the knife first. They showed me the artwork. I actually critiqued it. I asked for the clover to be made slightly smaller than the words because it was exactly the same size. I wanted it to kind of offset from the words and make the clover slightly smaller, and that's what they did. And it turned out perfect. Nice, dark, just what I asked for. So anyway, that was section 3 with my little surprise. I've got my Lucky, Paws Lucky, or Skol's Lucky. If I wanted to get Skol EDC put on a knife, I could get that done. Send an email to the email address at traditionalpocketknives.com website. They have a support email. That's where you want to send your email to contact them if you want to laser engrave and get their exclusive knife. Anyway, I think that's it. I covered everything. You learned some cool things about the penguin, including the Fibonacci sequencing incorporated into the design of the penguin, which I think was pretty cool. I showed my wife and she thought that was super neat. And there's no way that was just by accident. I know knife designers, they'll have their AutoCAD and they'll move lines around. They'll say that looks better. Well, your brain automatically judges proportions. And does that look more attractive or less attractive? Everybody's able to do that instinctively, but the underlying formula, the golden ratio, and if you want to learn more about that, learn more about Fibonacci. There's other videos. I'm not going to explain it all to you, but I just showed you what pertains to the penguin. I showed you my collection. We talked about Fibonacci and my new Lucky knife. So thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is actually going to be included in my series. I have a long-term plan for the channel. I've got the knife locks for different situations is part of the series. The Fibonacci and the penguin was meant to be part of the series. And another one coming up is knife physics inside the knife. What does it matter where your stop pin is? Like this stop pin is behind the pivot. Some knives have the stop pin directly above or in front of the pivot. What's happening with the physics and the leverage inside the knife? I've got a video coming up on that. So I've got a long-term plan on videos I'm getting to. For the most part right now, I'm just trying to build a library of knife reviews. But I do have this series, long-term plan, and some other plans, probably including some cosplay, because I'm into that. I have a lot of costumes. And my channel does other things like dog related. I'll do some more of that and hiking. So subscribe, come back, check out some of those other videos. Go check out that locks in different situations if you're interested in that. But thanks for stopping by. I'm Skol. And remember, always carry a knife.